man is back.
Oh, okay, Jay, boys, Jay again. Oh my gosh, the man got messed up. This is a 5 out of freaking 5.
It is beat making time.
Next week is E3 week. My album comes out next week.
I have delivered. You know what I'm saying? It's true. You know what I'm saying? But look at that, my God.
This is your boy. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. This is your boy, Dash True Inferno. And before we get on with today's topic, I just want to cover my predictions. I was correct. The New England Patriots are once again the Super Bowl champions. I predict that they will win it before the season starts. I predict that they will win it before the playoffs starts. And I obviously predict that they will win it before the Super Bowl started. And I was correct. The NFC side was a bit jumbled up, but as it went along, I pretty much got it down to a science and got it for the most part. But at the beginning, it was horrible. But the AFC side, on the other hand, nailed it. Nailed it completely. So, yeah, there you go with that. Now, let's get on to today's topic, which was very difficult to actually pick a topic because so much stuff been going on over the last few weeks. Some personal experiences regarding how people are, the whole game stuff, forcing the employees to lie. I mean, there was just so much going on. But I'm going with one of the biggest topics going on right now. That's, I guess, is dying down. So I want to cover it now instead of next week, and that is this: LeBron James versus Charles Barkley. Yes, that's what I'm talking about today. Now, let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into it. So this all started back in January, where the Cleveland Cavaliers were losing games. Like, they were slumping. At this point, it was January 31st, and they lost, if memory serves me correctly, if I read that correctly, they lost 6 out of the last 8 games. I believe that's what happened. I mean, no, it wasn't the 31st. It was the 26th, January the 26th. Yeah. That's when it went down. They lost 6 out of their last 8 games. And basically, LeBron kind of went off. Not on his team, but on upper management. Now, let's be real here. The owner of the team is Dan Gilbert. And if you follow the NBA for years, when LeBron made the decision, which was the worst decision he ever made in his career, where he basically announced to the world on ESPN that he was, quote unquote, taking his talents to South Beach, Cleveland Cavaliers owner Dan Gilbert, he went off for LeBron. He wrote, he just said a lot of negative stuff about LeBron and things of that nature. So obviously there's an animosity between the two when LeBron wanted to come back, and the animosity is still there in my opinion. So recently, again going back to January, LeBron basically took to Twitter about basically how the team hasn't really changed much, with the exception of them picking up Kyle Korver for a first-round draft pick. But he been basically vocal about how his team needed to add a quote-unquote playmaker to make them better. So, especially with the injury to J.R. Smith that happened a while back. So, LeBron again took to Twitter where he said, "I'm not mad or upset at management because Griff," as in the general manager, David Griffin, Griff and staff have done a great job. I just feel we still need to improve in order to repeat, if that's what we want to do. And I'm like, okay, let's get rid of the whole I'm not mad or upset at management because Griff and staff have done a great job. No, let's just ignore that part. Basically, you telling the world how you feel. You want more players, or you want better players, or whatever the case may be. You want a move made to bring in a certain style that a player possess to help your team repeat. And even though he said that on Twitter, but on ESPN on January 25th, it was reported that actually James isn't happy with Cleveland's reluctance to spend money, particularly above and beyond the luxury tax threshold. So, yeah, things are not going as good as you think they are at Cleveland. And at one point, LeBron even told some New Orleans paper, I think this was after they lost to the Pelicans, actually, that same night. It was actually not the New Orleans paper. It was the Washington Post. He's basically said, and I quote, "We need a fucking playmaker." So now we get on to TNT and Charles Barkley. So basically, here's what he said. He was talking to somebody, and TNT got the quote. So I'm gonna read it from here, and you go see it right here. Basically, he said, "We're not better than last year from a personnel standpoint. We're a top-heavy team. I just hope we're not satisfied. It's like when you don't have bodies, it's tough. We top-heavy as shit. It's me." And then, of course, in brackets, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love. And then, okay, continuing on with the quote, "It's top heavy. I'm not singling out everybody. I'm not. Yeah, we won, referring to the championship, but fuck. You know what? Let's see if we can do something." So that's the quote right there. Now, that quote was posted on NBA on TNT a few weeks back. And basically, you got Ernie, Kenny, Shaq, Charles, and even Kevin Garnett and Rasheed Wallace, my boy, basically giving their insight on LeBron's comments. And really, it's all about Charles Barkley's comments. So I'm going to play those comments to you guys, and I'll be right back.
LeBron James' comments were blank.
Inappropriate, whiny, all the above. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they have given him everything he wanted. They have the highest payroll in NBA history. He wanted J.R. Smith last summer. They paid him. He wanted Shumpert last summer. They bought in Kyle Korver. He's the best player in the world. Does he want all the good players? He don't want to compete? He is an amazing player. But this notion, they're the defending champs. And for him to be trying to hold anything over Dan Gilbert's head, and I love all these wild punk-ass reporters on television who's afraid to call out LeBron. LeBron's a great player and a great guy. But this notion that he's got to have all the best players on his team. He's got Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. He wants everybody. He don't want to compete. He want to be the favorite all the time. It just pisses me off that a guy that great don't want to compete.
So basically, those were Charles Barkley's comments. So after Charles Barkley comment went out there, LeBron actually fired back. Yes, he actually fired back at Charles Barkley. So here's what LeBron said regarding Charles Barkley's comments. And I'm going to get them up real quick. Here's what he said as he told ESPN's Dave McMenamin. How do you mean pronounce this dude's last name? I think it's McMenamin. Yeah, McMenamin. He basically said, and I quote, "He's a hater. What makes what he says credible? Because he's on TV? I'm not going to let him disrespect my legacy like that. I'm not the one who threw somebody through a window. I never spit on a kid. I never had unpaid debt in Las Vegas. I never said I'm not a role model. I never showed up to All-Star Weekend on Sunday because I was in Vegas all weekend partying. All I've done for my entire career represented the NBA the right way. 14 years, never got in trouble. Respected the game. Print that. I collect one paycheck from this. There's the owner, Griff's, as in David Griffin, as you all know, the GM. I'm the player. Screw Charles Barkley." So that's what LeBron said. So the question here is, whose side are you on? Are you on LeBron's side or are you on Charles' side? Now, Shaq had obviously made it clear that he was on LeBron's side, and Shaq was an idiot. But I'll get more on that in a minute. Let's break all this down real quick. We're going to break this down, and here's why I'm going to break this down. It all started when LeBron went public, basically, by saying, "We need a fucking playmaker." Those were his exact words, and saying how they, the squad needs help and things of that nature. And I recommend you watch the whole TNT analysis on LeBron James' original comments. And if you want to watch the retaliation to LeBron's comeback on Charles, yeah, you could go ahead and do that too. But I recommend you watch the original analysis from the TNT crew, which is entitled "Charles Barkley Calls LeBron James Whiny for Wanting More Help. Shaq and Chuck Almost Fight." That's exactly what they call on YouTube. So you can go on YouTube and look that up. And I agree with the likes of Kevin Garnett and Rasheed Wallace, who both been champions. Obviously, Rasheed had with Detroit, and I was a part of that championship run. Man, those were the days. But anywho, And they basically said, when you are a champion and you got to go through another season as the defending champions, everybody's going to come at you. Everybody going to bring you their A game. And yeah, it's going to get tough. And at the same time, here's the thing that they said that really resonates. They said there were issues within the locker room. You know, there were some problems and some turmoil, things of that nature. But they kept it in the locker room. Now, granted, when she won the championship, this is 2004. So this was before social media was as big as it is now. And then, of course, when Kevin Garnett finally won his, that was in 2000 and either 7 or 8. I want to say 2008. But it was around that time. So either way, it was again before social media blew up. So whatever turmoil that they had, they didn't report it. They didn't say it to reporters or anything like that. You know, they didn't post it on Twitter because there was no, you know, Twitter was, if there was a Twitter back then, it wasn't big as it is now. It wasn't in 2004. I don't know if it was in 2007 or 8. I don't remember. But if it was as big as it is now. So they kept it to themselves, as opposed to LeBron, who went on Twitter and basically vented his frustration to try to play off as, oh, I'm not mad at me. Like, no, you mad at management. And it was reported that you were mad at management. Now, it's one thing to say, oh, if they kept in a locker room, but then somehow it got out because a reporter overheard something, or one of the players told one of their boys, and their boys went to a report or something like that. That's different. But for you yourself to go public about your issues with upper management is kind of dumb. And, you know, that was the main problem here, that he went public with it. That's what really my main problem with it. But at the same time, this is Dan Gilbert we're talking about here. So LeBron want to fire shots at his owner. I have no problem with that either. Because Dan Gilbert, he is basically an asshole. So I have no problem with that either. But the fact that he talking about basketball-related things involving the team, and now there's reports that LeBron actually wants Cleveland to trade Kevin Love for Carmelo Anthony. Because that trade was talked about a few weeks back. But Cleveland said, no, we ain't doing that. But LeBron is like, man, they better do that shit. So, I mean, that's what's being reported. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what's being reported, that LeBron is in favor of them trading Kevin Love for Carmelo Anthony. But, again, stuff like that should be left private. Because now it sends the message that LeBron don't want Kevin Love there. But I'm getting off topic here to some degree. But let's get back on topic. So, for him to complain about, oh, his team needs this, his team needs a fucking playmaker, things of that nature. I mean, again, do it in private. Talk to the GM. Because really, that's who he should be talking to. The GM is the one who goes around and make the trades and, you know, signs people and release people. Not the owner. That's the GM job. So, he didn't holler at quote-unquote Griff about that. Now, regarding to what Charles said, again, he said that should have been private. I think all of them said it should have been private. You know, all of them said it. But Charles called him whiny and he complaining, things of that nature. And here's why. I kind of agree, and here's why. LeBron James is indeed the best basketball player in the world. And at the same time, it's not like he's surrounded by scrubs. Despite, you know, my opinion about Cleveland and anything and everything Cleveland related. Y'all know how I feel about that. Basically how I feel about anything Ohio related. But that's another story for another day. LeBron James, aka the greatest basketball player in the world, is surrounded by Kyrie Irving, who is a young stud. And I will admit, even though I look at Kyrie and say he's a bitch, but at the same time, the dude got handles. He can ball. He can close. Like, he's no joke. That's an all-star. And at least an all-star. He could be a superstar himself right now. I mean, you know, it depends on how the public view him. Either an all-star or a superstar. Either way, he's nowhere near a scrub. And then you got Kevin Love, who is also an all-star. And if he was to stay in Minnesota, he could have been a superstar. But he's no scrub. And they got a lot of good, what did Shaq call them? Other players. They got a lot of good other players as it is. You know, that team outside of Kyle Korver was good enough to win a championship to some degree. Because it was, you know, I ain't gonna get into that. But anywho, they won a championship already, and much to my dismay and things of that nature. So, and granted, yes, I understand that you had to make changes as defending champions to stay defending champions. Because when the Pistons won the championship, going back to Rashid in 2004, they made some changes to their bench and to their second unit and things of that nature. And at the time, I didn't like it because I'm like, dog, we won a championship with these guys. Why not keep them together? And then but at the same time, now I'm looking at it now, I'm like, well, if we didn't make those changes, then there's a good chance that we would not made it back to the finals and that we wouldn't have took the Spurs to a game 7. So, I mean, it's a possibility. So, I understand that as defending champions, changes need to be made to the roster in order for you to stay relevant in the title picture and relevant to being favorites to win another championship. So, I get that. But as the greatest basketball player in the world, surrounded by 2 All-Stars, at least 2 All-Stars, or 2 guys who are at least considered all-stars. That's what I should have said. It makes him look soft that he's complaining or whiny that, oh yeah, I want better players or I want more players and blah, blah, blah. And also the Cavs are the one that have the most money that's spent on their players more than anybody. So the salary cap, things of that nature. Cavs are up there. Like, they're more than up there. They're number 1. So they play the players the most in all, throughout the NBA. So for them to try and spend more money sounds ludicrous. But the only way they can do that is for a trade or to bring up some young talent from the D League and say, okay, you're going to be the playmaker, blah, 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 whatever. So, but despite everything that Charles said, even though he called him whiny, he's complaining, things of that nature, Shaq said that Charles went personal because he called him that and said that LeBron don't want to compete. And I'm like, I could somewhat see that because even though Charles was talking about basketball sense in regards to, what LeBron, comments and his comments, things of that nature. But at the same time, if you call another guy a whiner, a complainer, and that he's not willing to compete, it could be viewed as you're attacking their personality, that you're attacking their manhood to some degree. You're questioning their will to compete, and that could be considered to be personal. That could be like I heard more personal things, that doesn't involve their mom or their kids or their wives or things of that nature. That just strictly involve them. I heard more personal things. So for Charles to say, oh, he's whiny, he's complaining, he's not trying to compete and things of that nature, and for Shaq to say, oh, he made it personal by saying those things, I'm like, kind of, but not really. But LeBron made it personal with the whole, oh, I'm not the one who spit in the kid's face who was at Vegas doing All-Star weekend prior to Sunday, or I'm not the one who threw a guy out the window. I'm like, no, you made it personal right there. Again, I would say semi-personal. It's more personal than Charles calling him somebody who's not willing to compete, who is a whiner and complainer. No, I mean, what LeBron said was more personal than what Charles said. I'll say that. And it was unnecessary because LeBron, as a basketball player, owns Charles Barkley when he was a basketball player. How many times Charles been to the NBA Finals? I think once. How many times did Charles win the NBA championship? None. And then you look at LeBron. How many times LeBron been there? 7 times. At least 7, 8. I don't know the exact number. But how many times he became an NBA champion? 3 times. And when it's all said and done, when LeBron's career ends, he would be, looked at and say, oh, he was a much better player than Charles Barkley. Everybody and their mama will and should agree on that. Even right now, LeBron James right now is a better basketball player than Charles Barkley ever was. Everybody and their mama, again, should agree with that. So LeBron had enough ammunition to go at Charles on a basketball standpoint, because Charles, even though some people could say, oh, he went personal, it's kind of, but Charles was speaking on a basketball sense in the terms of, oh, he complaining about his basketball team and how he thinks they need help and how the owner or the GM of that basketball team need to make some moves to make that basketball team better. Keywords, basketball. So Charles was speaking on a basketball sense. LeBron took it out of basketball, and he shouldn't have done that. So that's why it's close, but I'm siding with Charles on this one because, again, Charles kept it basketball for the most part. Some people may view it, oh, he went out of line, or not out of line, went personal to some degree. It's understandable, but I'm going to say he kind of did. But it was still, in a sense, of basketball. What LeBron said about Charles was not. And again, what LeBron said was semi-personal because what I mean by semi-personal is this. Everything that Charles did about the whole spin the kid's face, going guys out the window, it's public. It's been public for years. Everybody knew about it. So it's not like, oh, LeBron has some new dirt on Charles that nobody knew about until now. That would be considered personal, really personal. But no, basically LeBron reiterated stuff that Charles had done in the past that everybody and their mama knew about. So that's why I'm calling it semi-personal, because it's like, yeah, that's a low blow, but we all knew about it. We knew about those things already. So, but again, it's still more personal than what Charles said about LeBron. Therefore, I'm siding with Charles in this one. So, yeah, there you go with that. Now, next week, I'm going to cover the whole GameStop fiasco. That's going to be a 2-part video. So, yeah, man, and I got a surprise for y'all next week. A new gameplay, yes. So with that said, y'all know who this is. This is the new Jay Gatsby, a.k.a. the new Stephen A. Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah. Coming out, Super Mario Odyssey, the newest Mario game, rather. And that one coming out holiday season. Now, other games like Xenoblade 2, yes, Xenoblade Chronicle 2, there is a sequel to the first one, and Splatoon 2. I forgot when those drop, but they supposed to drop sometime this year, but not day one. And of course, the big thing about the Switch is it will now support third-party titles. So we talking the likes of